All right, let's get into it, Metro Machining team. Welcome to this explainer. I am bringing some serious pre-shift pep talk energy today because we were laying out something that is absolutely crucial, the shared standard for every single person on the floor and on site. It doesn't matter if you're a director, a leading hand, a machinist, a fitter, a fabricator, line borer, apprentice, or if you're out there on the site crew, this is for you. We're talking about the rules of the game. This is our playbook, guys. Same rules, same standard, same team. Okay, let's dive right in.
So picture this for a second. What happens to a footy match if you just take away all the rules? Literally no offsides, no marking, no stoppages. It instantly stops being a game and turns into absolute chaos, right? Everyone is just out there guessing the play. Well, it is the exact same thing on a workshop floor. Without clear rules, every single shift just becomes a giant guessing game about what's actually expected. And worse, every conversation about performance, it just turns into an opinion. And we all know opinions get challenged. Rules don't.
Now, we need to draw a hard line here and sharply divide the philosophical stuff from the practical stuff. You've probably heard a ton about Metro's core values, but rules of the game, totally separate from that. Core values are about the big themes that run through our work. They're about how we behave. But today, we are strictly focusing on the rules. Rules are specific, observable actions you take on the shift. Showing up by 7 a.m., wearing your PPE, actually filling out the line boring form. It's binary, right? You either did it or you didn't.
So the bottom line is this. Rules are what we do. Values are how we do it. We intentionally write our rules in plain, simple language so there is zero debate on the floor. No gray area whatsoever. We don't want anyone scratching their head wondering what a good job actually looks like. We define it, we write it down, and we execute it.
Okay, so why are we making such a big deal out of this? To really get it, let's look at this wild psychological study called the tapping experiment. Here's how it works. One person taps out the rhythm of a famous song on a table, and the other person tries to guess what it is. The tapper hears the entire song in their head, every note, every lyric, the whole shebang. To them, it's totally obvious. But the guesser, they just hear random tapping noises. They almost never guess the song right. This brilliantly illustrates the massive danger on a workshop floor when leaders assume the team just knows the standard. The leader with 20 years of experience hears the whole song. The team just hears tapping. Everyone ends up guessing differently.
And that brings us to this absolute core rule for our quality and workmanship. Assume nothing. Double-check everything. Trust no one. By physically writing down the actual standard, we completely eliminate all the guesswork. We stop hearing tapping, and we start hearing the exact same song. This protects the quality of our work, and honestly, it protects you from having to guess what your leading hand wants.
Let's talk about where these rules actually come from, because this isn't some list of orders handed down from management in an office. You, the team, actually own and write this playbook yourselves. The weekly toolbox meeting, that's the home of the rules. That's where they're made, refined, and agreed upon by the team. Then the weekly pre-start is where those rules are broadcast to everyone. Standing rules at the top, new notices below. Completely transparent, no surprises.
So the life cycle of a Metro rule is essentially a fast three-step sprint. 1, it's made in the toolbox. 2, it's broadcast in the pre-start. 3, it's lived on the shift. Think about it. Taking just 10 minutes a week in the toolbox to actually write down what the standard is in plain words, that 10 minutes pays off for 10 years of solid, predictable teamwork.
All right, let's rattle through a quick-fire walkthrough of the seed rules. These are the standing expectations that already run through our weekly pre-starts. And remember, from the directors down to the newest apprentice, every single person is bound by this exact same standard. We are all playing the same game. Let's look at time and PPE first.
Hitting the strongest points here. Punctuality is professionalism, pure and simple. We start at 7 a.m. Now that doesn't mean pulling your car into the lot at 7. It means boots on, gear sorted, and literally ready to work at 7 a.m. As for PPE, safety glasses, earplugs, and steel cap boots are mandatory every single day on every single job. And if your PPE is damaged or missing, stop and get it sorted before you start work. Your safety comes first, for sure.
Moving over to substance and conduct. Look, the rule is simple. We treat clients, suppliers, and each other with total respect. No exceptions. And regarding site safety standards, there is a hard line here. Random drug and alcohol testing on client sites is a reality. A failed test is a termination. We do not negotiate this one. It's about making sure every person goes home safe at the end of the day.
When it comes to quality and workmanship,
Quality isn't a nice to have, it's absolutely non-negotiable. Speed is a bonus, not the baseline. If something doesn't look right, you stop and you flag it. Pushing on when you have a doubt is exactly how scrap happens. And hey, if an avoidable error happens, the rework gets logged. Not as a punishment, but as information so we can sharpen our processes and actually learn as a team.
Which brings us perfectly to documentation. I need everyone to let this phrase really sink in. If it is not written down, it did not happen. Paperwork isn't just busy work, guys. It is protection. It protects the business, yeah, but more importantly, the paperwork protects you.
In the real world, that means daily Tradeify updates with your job descriptions, photos, and hours. It means completing the line boring form on every single job, period. For equipment care, our trucks and vehicles are company assets. They are not your bedroom. Keep the cab clean. Tools go right back where they came from so the next guy can actually find them. And if something gets damaged, report it that exact same day. We fix it way faster when we know about it early.
Wrapping up our seed rules with hotworks and communication. Keep brake clean far away from hotworks. That risk is literally fatal. For communication, we do a 60-second end-of-shift checkout every single day. Speak up early because bad news does not improve with age. Disagree in private, support in public. And most importantly, help the apprentice. They're the next version of us.
Okay, let's completely shift gears here. How do we actually win as a team? How do we keep these rules alive day in and day out? Look, most workplaces only speak up when something goes wrong. That is totally backwards. A rule that no one ever notices being followed is a rule that fades away. So, our strategy is this: catch people doing stuff right. Calling out good behavior is what makes the standard visible to everyone.
Because, let's be honest, generic praise like, "Good job, everyone," falls totally flat. We use an exact formula for recognition. Name the person, name the specific behavior tied to a rule, explain why it matters, state the benefit, say thanks. Hey mate, the bore came up on spec first time today, your setup was clean, and photos are on Tratify before Smoko. That is exactly the standard we run on, thanks for setting it. When you do that, the whole team sees what right actually looks like, and the bar quietly lifts for everyone.
And that leads right in to an absolute ironclad rule for how we treat each other here. Public praise, private correction. When a rule gets broken, the conversation happens privately with the leading hand or manager, never on the floor, never in front of the team. The goal is always to bring the person back up to the standard, never to embarrass them.
So, how well you live these rules falls into one of 3 performance bands. We use plain language here, no complicated metrics or colors. First is solid. You're hitting the standard week in, week out. You're the teammate everyone wants beside them. Second is developing. You're drifting on 1 or 2 rules. It happens. Time for a quick coaching reset, no drama. Third is action. This is a pattern of breaking the rules which leads to a structured plan. And because the rules are written down so clearly, nobody ever ends up in the action band by surprise.
So as we gear up to hit the floor today, I want you to remember the standard cycle. Every Monday is our chance to sharpen the rules, and every shift is our chance to prove them. The toolbox sets the standard, the pre-start broadcasts it, and the shift is exactly where we live it. I'll leave you with this final, powerful thought. The standard belongs to all of us. You build it, you agree to it, and you protect it. So ask yourself as you head out there right now, which rule are you going to champion today? Let's get out there, look out for each other, and go catch someone doing stuff right. Have a great shift, Metro.